I let a salesman into my house, and I don't think he ever left. This story is by u/mythic_melon. I've always been too agreeable, meek, people-pleasing, a suck-up. Take your pick. My parents were always telling me I needed to grow a spine. They said my refusal to set boundaries would get me into trouble someday, and they were right. More than once, a simple no could have saved me a lot of pain and heartache. But what I'm about to tell you isn't a harmless life lesson about confidence. What's happening to me is unnatural. I just never imagined trouble like this could find me. Hell, I don't think anyone would have imagined a situation like this. What kind of evil, you may ask? Let's just call it what it is. A sick, vile disease that infects every neighborhood like a plague. Door-to-door salespeople, the worst of the worst. You know the type. Pushy people that knock down your door and beg you to buy products they don't like or even use. I just moved into a quiet suburb outside the city and have had my fair share of run-ins with these people. I may not buy what they're selling, but I indulge them nonetheless. Most people slam the door in their faces when they realize what they've opened their door to. If they catch me off guard, I'll hear them out before sending them on their way. I call it considerate, but I know it's really just me having a hard time saying no. But this time, this was something else entirely. Someone was knocking at my door while I was busy attempting to repair my washing machine that clunked out earlier in the day. That cursed machine. I lugged the ancient thing from my last place in an attempt to save money. At this point, I'm probably losing money due to the damage it's doing to my clothes and my patience. The peephole revealed a tall, lanky man in a blue-collared t-shirt and beige slacks. A white cap with words I couldn't make out were embroidered in sleek black stitching. He held a clipboard in one hand and a smile on his face. The guy couldn't look any friendlier. I cracked open the door, and he wasted no time putting on the charm. "Hi, ma'am. I'm just going around the neighborhood offering some services." He was very enthusiastic. I couldn't tell if he loved his work or if he was just an amazing actor. "I gotta say, this has gotta be the nicest house on the block," he said cheerfully. He leaned in as if to tell me a secret. "Don't tell Mary next door I said that." I told her the same thing. I chuckled dryly and decided the sales pitch was going to end prematurely. "I'm sorry, man. I'm not interested in buying anything today." He frowned and held his hand out to interrupt my interruption. The gesture was polite but annoying. "Ma'am, I'm sorry. I can't leave you in good conscience until I'm sure I can't be of service today." Here we go. "How about this? 2 minutes. Sound good, ma'am? I give you 2 minutes of my time. After that, you say no and I leave. No questions asked. Deal?" He held out a pale hand to seal the deal. A normal person would have said no and closed the door right then and there. Most people have no problem with that. I just feel so bad. I know it's ridiculous. I just have a hard time hurting people's feelings. Just the thought of disappointing someone gives me a nervous feeling. Even Timu Wolf of Wall Street over here. I shook his hand briefly and nodded. A toothy grin spread across his face. I swear his eyes twinkled like a child. "Excellent," he said in a sing-songy tone. "Well, the service we provide is simple. My company—" "Oh, are you okay, ma'am?" His eyes narrowed in on my arm. Blood was oozing from a fresh cut just below the wrist. I must have nicked it trying to wrestle the screws off the washing machine. Of course, he knew none of that. "Oh shit, yeah, I'm fine. My washing machine clunked out. I was in the middle of fixing it." He nodded, but I could tell he wasn't fully convinced. Before I could say more, his eyes lit up again. "Well, I'm sorry to see you banged up, ma'am, but boy, do I have some good news for you." "Let me guess. Your company sells washing machines?" "My company is an award-winning appliance company. Washing machines are our specialty." What a salesman. "Oh, that's awesome," I mumbled. He didn't let my lack of enthusiasm bring him down. "Now we're getting somewhere. Hey, I actually do some of the repairs on our old units. How about I take a look at your machine? If I manage to get you up and running, maybe you could consider us for your next upgrade?" Interesting. A traveling salesman and washing machine repairman. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is where I should have drawn the line. Unfortunately, I'm a gullible idiot, and the tall, cartoonish salesman didn't raise any red flags. "Sure, what the hell. But I don't want to hear another word about your appliance specials unless you fix it. Deal?" He shook my good hand and nodded. "I won't let you down, ma'am." I waved him in and started towards the laundry room. We were halfway to the mess when a chill ran up my spine. I can't explain really why I reacted at this moment. The feeling was visceral, primal. Like a prey animal with its ears raised, something set me off. I stopped abruptly and turned to address the salesman. He wasn't there. I hoped maybe he just ducked out to grab some tools. Still, something wasn't right. I turned my attention to the stairs and shrieked. He was no longer the harmless salesman. He was something else. His limbs were twisted and spidery as he skittered away from me. It had only been a few moments, but the thing that was once a man was halfway up the stairs already. The old wood creaked as he galloped around the bend in the staircase and disappeared. He was gone. Deep in the heart of my house. My home. I couldn't really process what I saw. My flight mode kicked in and I was already outside dialing 911 with trembling hands. It was like the facade just imploded. The second he was invited in my home, he tore into it like a ravenous animal. I couldn't explain why. Not to myself, not to you, not to the police who showed up to my house moments later. They assured me whatever he was trying to do had come to an end. They found an open window upstairs and concluded he must have left shortly after I ran out of the house. Still, I made them check again and again. Nothing living in this house at the moment except you, me, and my fellow officers, the man assured. They gave a half-baked explanation that he was just a creep and got spooked, and that it wasn't worth losing any sleep over. Easy for them to say. They didn't see what I saw. I kept running that creepy moment over and over in my head. It sounds almost comical saying it out loud, but the reality of someone hiding in your house on all fours is terrifying. I stayed with a friend for a while. It would have been longer, but I could tell I was beginning to overstay my welcome. I reluctantly returned to my place. I kept telling myself that my fear was silly. The cops checked the whole house. I was safe, right? Unfortunately, I had every right to be scared. In fact, I should have been a lot more scared. I attributed what happened next to my crippling paranoia. I shouldn't have. I should have listened to my gut and taken it seriously. It was small things at first. Furniture out of place, food missing from the pantry, doors were found unlocked even though I checked them the night before. Then things escalated. I started to notice clothes missing from my dresser. A foul smell started emanating from the attic. One morning, I awoke to find what appeared to be saliva dripping from my exposed leg. I called the cops again. I knew I would sound crazy, so I made up a story this time. Told them I saw a man breaking into the downstairs window of my house when I was returning home from work. They arrived in minutes. Of course, they found nothing. But this time, I noticed something. Something they missed. Yes, nothing was out of place or missing. Everything was accounted for in the attic and basement. However, everything was spotless. Too spotless. That was the problem. My attic was empty, sure, but it was much cleaner than how I left it. My basement, which I hadn't touched since I moved in, had a very sterile quality to it. Things remained in their right place. But something passed through. It was like someone tore the room apart and put it together exactly as they found it. Something was hiding its tracks. The next day, I decided it was time to leave. Whatever was in my home, it ate at me. I barely slept, and when I did, I woke up in a panic. My sanity was slipping. I needed peace again. So I decided if this thing wasn't gonna leave me, I would leave it. I was packing upstairs when my friend called. I told her to let me know when she was nearby and that I appreciated her coming to pick me up. I didn't want to be left alone right now. I lugged my suitcase downstairs and opened the door, anxious to get away from this place I once called home. I waited a few minutes on the sidewalk, but to my surprise, her car never pulled up. I went back inside and called her up. She answered on the second ring. "Oh, you're ready to talk now?" There was something off about her tone, a mix of anger and fear. "What do you mean? I told you to call me when you were close," I stammered. "Why didn't you say anything? You really freaked me out." The fear in her voice was undeniable now. My stomach dropped. I got that eerie feeling again. I was not alone in this house. You came to the door?" I whispered. I could feel eyes on me, a faint creak at the top of the stairs. I didn't turn around. "Did I? Yes, I came to the door. What the hell? Are you feeling okay?" And I answered? I calmly picked up my bag and started for the front door again. I didn't want it to sense that I knew it was there. I swear I could hear faint giggling from the staircase. Yes, you just stood there smiling. You really freaked me out. I could hear it getting close now. It was no longer the agile thing that ran up my staircase that fateful day. Whatever facade it was wearing restrained it somehow. I could hear its clumsy limbs slapping against the stairs. This was my only chance. Something is wrong. Come back now, I yelled into the phone. I blindly grabbed the first piece of furniture I could reach and pulled it down behind me, my heart racing as I tore out the front door. Just a few feet behind me, something smashed into the blockade and released a guttural howl. I shifted focus to the suburb and saw my friend's car peeling down the street to my left. I didn't wait for her to slow down before running up and banging at the window. The car screeched to an abrupt stop and she shot me a bewildered look. "Jeez, what is going on with you today?" she snapped and unlocked the passenger door. I got in as quickly as possible and told her to drive. I looked back, fully expecting to be ripped out of the seat by whatever chased me out the house. Nothing. All I could see was the short stretch of lawn and my home sitting peacefully among the rest of the suburb. The only thing out of place was the open door and silhouette of upturned furniture within. As we made our escape, something gnawed at me. At first, I told myself I had imagined it, a trick of the light or some fear-induced hallucination. But now, I'm not so sure. When the car peeled away, I thought I saw something in the rear view. Peering at me over the upturned furniture was a set of eyes. My eyes. We were too far to see it clearly, but deep down, I knew it was true. Whatever weaseled its way into my life wasn't just sitting idly. It was consuming me, in my sleep, through my belongings, trying to become me. I pray it didn't succeed. I never should open the goddamn door. That was the last time I saw my house. I sold it and got a new place closer to family. I decided it was best to be surrounded by people I know and trust. My therapist agreed. It goes without saying I never opened my door to an unexpected guest again. I learned my lesson. I started saying no more often. Boundaries aren't just a convenience for me anymore. They're a necessity. To anyone reading this, I hope you heed my warning. It's okay to be wary of strangers. It's okay to say no. Never drop your guard and say yes to someone, no matter how harmless they appear. You never know who they really are, what they really are. I'll leave you with that. Be careful, set boundaries, and stay safe.